He secretly dated Barbara Hale. Now we know why Raymond Burr was born. Raymond William Stacey Burr was born on May 21, 1917 in New Westminster, British Columbia, Canada. He became one of the most famous people on TV and in movies, making a huge impact on entertainment. He grew up in a regular Canadian family. Burr loved acting from a young age, and his family helped him even though they didn't have much money. As a young man, he really wanted to become an actor with strong determination. This dream would take him from Canadian theater stages to fancy movie studios of Hollywood. Burr's career lasted more than 5 decades and showed not only his talent but also how good he was at different roles, how professional he was, and his amazing work habits. Burr first became famous in 1940 Seconds and 1950 Seconds by working in dark movies and serious films. He often played bad guys, scary characters, or people in charge, and his powerful presence, deep voice, and tall height made him impossible to forget on screen. Some important movies during this time included Rear Window in 1954, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, where Burr played a scary neighbor, and A Place in Thiessen in 1951, showing he could bring deep feelings and cleverness to complicated supporting roles. His early movie career was often about playing mean characters, but it showed his range and got him ready for the biggest role of his life. Raymond Burr's fame is mostly connected to his amazing role as Perry Mason, the smart, steady defense lawyer in the long-running TV series Perry Mason, which was on TV from 1957 to 1966. This role not only made him famous around the world, but also changed what people expected from TV lawyers. Burr's acting as Mason mixed intelligence, seriousness, and doing the right thing, winning over audiences with a character who was both powerful in courtroom and very caring outside of it. The show itself became something everyone loved, inspiring many legal TV shows, and Burr's acting is still the best example for TV actors. His work on Perry Mason won him 2 Emmy Awards for Best Lead Actor in a Drama Series, making his reputation as a perfect professional and a master of his job. Besides Perry Mason, Burr kept showing his amazing ability to change with his acting as Robert T. Ironside in Ironside from 1967 to 1975, where he played a smart detective who used a wheelchair. This role broke new ground in showing disabled people on TV, and Burr approached it with realness, strength, and respect. His acting encouraged audiences to see differently able people as capable, intelligent, and heroic, making his impact on society go beyond just entertainment. Through both Perry Mason and Ironside, Burr showed his ability to play complicated characters with many sides, leaving a legacy of strong, good main characters who inspired viewers around the world. When he wasn't acting, Raymond Burr was known for giving to charity, being kind, and quietly helping others. He supported many good causes, especially in healthcare, education, and the arts. Burr also loved gardening and being outdoors, often going to his big property in California to find peace and balance away from the tough demands of Hollywood. Even though he was famous, he stayed very private about his personality, earning respect for being humble and keeping things to himself in a business often full of scandal. Raymond Burr's personal life was shaped by both short regular experiences and later a deep lifelong friendship that made his private happiness complete. His first marriage was to actress Isabella Ward from 1919 to 2004, a relationship that started in the world of theater. The two first met in 1943 when Isabella was a student at the Pasadena Playhouse, one of the most respected acting schools in the United States at the time, and Burr was working there as a teacher. The Playhouse was a place where future actors learned, and it was in this creative place of rehearsals, shows, and artistic dreams that their first connection happened. Even though they went different ways after that first meeting, luck brought him together again in 1947 when Isabella came back to California as part of a traveling theater group. This second meeting brought back their feelings, leading to their marriage on January 10, 1948, when they got married. It was also a big time in Burr's career. Ash was about to start filming the 1948 dark movie Pitfall, a project that made him more visible in Hollywood. Their marriage also had a theater side as in May of that same year the couple acted together on stage in a Pasadena Playhouse show about the life of artist Paul Gone. These joint projects suggested that they shared not only a personal connection but also a work one, trying to build a married life based on their shared love for theater. However, the marriage turned out to be short. In its early days, they lived in simple conditions, living in the basement apartment of a large Hollywood home that Burr shared with his mother and grandparents. This living situation may have put extra pressure on the couple, who were still trying to make it on their own. Within just a few months of their marriage, problems began to show, and Ward eventually went back to her home state, Delaware. Being apart from each other soon led to a legal separation, and their divorce wasn't finished until 1952. The relationship had realigned long before. Interestingly, after the divorce, neither Burr nor Ward got married again, suggesting that, for both, marriage was something they tried but chose not to do again. For Burr especially, years after this part of his life marked a clear turn toward more reprobate and unusual friendship. By 1960, Burr's personality took on a very different look when met actor Robert Benavides on the set of Perry Mason. Their meeting started the beginning of a deep partnership that would last until Burr's death more than 3 decades later. Benavides, who at the time was working on his own career in acting, quickly became not only a close friend but also Burr's most important companion. Although Benavides kept acting for a few years, by 1963 he decided to leave acting, maybe seeing both his personal interests and the chance of building a shared life with Burr outsided the pressure of the entertainment business. He changed into a behind-the-scenes job, later becoming a production helper for 21 of the Perry Mason TV movies. This gave him a steady job in the business while still letting him help with Burr's work projects. Together, Burr and Benavides also built a life based on shared business ventures. They started an orchid business showing Burr personal love for growing plants and later expanded into owning and running a vineyard in California's Dry Creek Valley. Their vineyard business was not just a side hobby, but became a serious money-making venture, mixing Burr's celebrity fame with Benavides's management skills. The twin created a home and work partnership that lasted through the changing times of Burr's career, making a life that balanced Hollywood fame with quieter farming work. When Burr died in 1993, how deep their bond was became clear by the fact that he left his whole estate to Benavides. This act showed not only the trust he had in his partner but also how important their decades-long friendship was. After Burr's death, Benavides honored his memory by renaming their vineyard Raymond Burr Vineyards. Though reports Burr himself may have preferred the property not have his name in a business way, nevertheless, under Benavides's care, the vineyard was successfully managed as a growing business for many years. Finally, in 2017, the property was sold, closing the last chapter on one of Burr's most personal legacies. Raymond Burr, Federal Presence of classic TV, best known for his famous roles as Perry Mason and later Ironside, had a personality that stayed mysterious for decades. One of the most surprising things about Burr's private world was his secret romance with Barbara Hale, the actress, who famously played Della, Perry Mason's loyal secretary. Their relationship, which stayed hidden from the public eye, is now understood in a new way, giving insight into Burr's character and the choices he made to protect his privacy and career. Burr himself talked about this delicate part of his life in honest comments, saying, "Barbara and I shared a closeness that few ever knew about. We cared for each other deeply, but the world we lived in made it impossible to be open about it." Burr and Hale's romance reportedly started on the set of Perry Mason, where their work chemistry was undeniable. However, Burr's commitment to keeping a certain public image, one that Hollywood demanded of leading men in the 1950s and 1960 seconds, meant that any personal involvement outside the boundaries of what society expected could have been career-damaging. Burr later thought about this, noting, "Back then, appearances were everything. I loved Barbara, but I also had to navigate a world where a single mistake could undo years of work." This honest admission highlights the tension between personal desire and work obligations, showing Burr as a man caught between two worlds, the private world of love and the public world of celebrity. Moreover, Burr's being careful about the relationship shows his deep respect for Barbara Hale. He was careful to protect her from public attention, stating, "I never wanted to drag Barbara into the spotlight for something so personal. Our bond was private, and I wanted it to remain that way." This choice shows not only Burr's protective instincts, but also his understanding of the pressures faced by women in Hollywood during that time. When any romantic connection could shape a career path, the secrecy of their relationship adds a layer of sadness, suggesting that Burr's feelings were real and based on care rather than convenience or image. Looking back, knowing a Booth's secret, romance lets fans and historians see a more human side of Raymond Burr beyond the serious commanding person seen on screen. It reveals a man capable of deep love and loyalty, willing to give up public recognition to protect someone he deeply valued. Burr's thoughts on the matter carry a sense of bittersweet wisdom. Sometimes love isn't about being seen, it's about being faithful even when no one knows. That was my love for Barbara. Today, as the details of their connection come to light, it makes her understanding of both Burr and Hale richer, highlighting how complicated personal relations were behind the glamorous front of Hollywood's golden age. During the filming of his final Perry Mason movie in the spring of 1993, Raymond Burr's health began to get worse noticeably, signaling the beginning of a tragic chapter in the life of the legendary actor. A Viacom spokesperson agents the media carefully noted that Burr's illness might have been connected to renal cell carcinoma, a dangerous kidney tumor that had been surgically removed just months earlier in February of the same year. The outlook was grim. Later medical checkups revealed that the cancer had spread, moving aggressively to his liver, making it impossible to operate and leaving doctors with few options and comfort care. Despite the physical toll, Burr kept his characteristic dignity and strength, choosing to celebrate life rather than dive up immediately to despair. In a series of deeply personal farewell gatherings, he hosted several goodbye parties, inviting friends and colleagues to share memories, laughter, and the unforgettable joy he brought to those around him. Burr finally passed away on September 12, 1993 at his peaceful Sonoma County ranch near Healdsburg. Surrounded by the calm beauty of Northern California, he was 76 years old, leaving behind a legacy that mixed movie excellence with deep personal warmth. The impact of Burr's passing went far beyond his immediate circle. The day after his death, R. William III, then president of the American Bar Association, issued a statement remembering Burr's extraordinary influence on public views of the legal profession. Raymond Burr's portrayals of Perry Mason represented lawyers in a professional and dignified manner. Mr. Burr worked for such realness in his courtroom character that we regard his passing as though we lost one of our own. Burr's acting as the careful, morally upright defense attorney had connected so strongly with public that in a 1993 National Law Journal poll, Americans ranked Perry Mason second in a list of the attorneys, real or fictional, they most admired, placing him just after the Flash lawyer F. Lee Bailey and ahead of historic figures such as Abraham Lincoln, civil rights champion Thurgood Marshall, former Attorney General Janet Trino, fictional TV lawyer Ben Matlock, and even Hillary Clinton, who had served as First Lady and was then a rising political figure. This recognition showed the lasting cultural importance of Burr's work, proving that his acting had gone beyond entertainment to influence how society viewed the legal profession itself. Burr's final resting place held both his family roots and his Canadian heritage. He was buried alongside his parents and his sister Gelda Dean in 1920 to 2001 at Fraser Cemetery in New Westminster, British Columbia, a location chosen for its personal meaning and the sense of family continuity it offered. On October 1, 1993, a private memorial service was held at the Pasadena Playhouse, drawing approximately 600 family members and friends who came to honor his memory, share stories of his life, and pay tribute to a man whose presence had touched so many in the world of entertainment and beyond. Burr's personal life and decisions around his estate showed his deep trust and loyalty to his longtime companion Robert Benavides, who had been a central figure in Burr's private life. In his will, Burr left his entire estate to Benavides, deliberately leaving out all other relatives, including a sister, nieces, and nephews. This decision was not without controversy. The will was challenged by the two children of Burr's late brother, James E. Burr. Further legal efforts ultimately failed. Benavides's attorney clarified that tabloid reports claiming Burr's estate was worth $32 million were exaggerated, noting that while substantial, the fortune was likely far less sensational than reported. Burr's choices in this matter highlight the intensely private nature of his life outside the public eye, revealing a man who fiercely protected those he loved and valued loyalty above societal expectations or family pressures.